tinfoil hat.
Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Yeah.
Revolution will be podcasted.
Boom, there it is. Everybody loves that one. I let it fucking simmer. Guys, welcome to Tinfoil Hat. This is the second part of our two-part Nipsey Hussle mini podcast series. It's a double whammy. So I hope you enjoyed the first one. You're enjoying the second one. Join me as always. I forgot to introduce him on the last show, and I felt awful about it. XG in the place to be.
How we doing, my dude?
How are you?
Good.
Now, the last episode you weren't totally buying into, or you were buying into it?
Nah.
Or have we hit that wall? You've gone
For
too
this
far.
one a little bit, maybe.
Okay, but you weren't into the occult and Nipsey Hussle.
No.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. Guys, some amazing things are going on here. Some amazing things. Tonight is Comedy Chaos at the Comedy Store. The 8 o'clock show is the only show that's available. There's a couple tickets left. You go to thecomedystore.com. That show right there has got Chris D'Elia and Joe Rogan. And that's sold out. The next show is, this show should be sold out. I don't know why it's not. Christina Pajinski, Theo Vaughn, Jeffrey Ross, Tony Rock, and there's one more. Oh, Orny Adams. That's a murder. There's not one bad there's not even one okay They're all theater comics in the show. Get your tickets now. It's sponsored by our good friends at Absolute Extract. Go to Absolute Extract. Go to abx.org. They are just the masters of weed, man. The masters of weed. Everything weed, you got it, man. Go to abx.org. They got fucking vape pens. They got flour. They got stuff for your vagina. I mean, and dude, trust me, chicks love weed. Weed is like money now. It is like you could get weed and you go buy stuff. I'm sure there's chicks on Craigslist that'll bone you for weed, okay? They're all out there, and you might as well get the best. These are the best weed people. If you come to Comedy Chaos, say you're at Tinfoil Hat, I'm gonna hook you up with some. Maybe I'll hook you up with a vape pen. Maybe I'll hook you up with something like that. Come get with. They got weed beer. They got weed water.
Dude, we just hit the vape pen outside. How was that shit?
It was bomb. I'm not gonna lie.
God damn, it is good. Everybody's high on this fucking show, except for me, because I have a problem with drugs and alcohol. So go to abx.org. Help our good friends out there. Also, we're very proud to announce that our good friends at Blue Chew, yes, we are the conspiracy podcast of boners. That's what we do. Is there a conspiracy out there? Yeah, the conspiracy is, why aren't you at boners yet, okay? Rock hard boners, American-made boners, okay? We love American boners here, all right? We're not getting Mexican boners from this guy's cousin who lives in Tijuana, whose fucking aunt does a donkey show. We're doing hardworking, real Americans making boner pills and shipping them right to you. Go to bluechew.com. That's the color blue, B-L-U-E, chew, C-H-E-W.com. Use the promo code tinfoil, and guess what? You get your first shipment free. They'll free of charge. You got to do the whole thing, go through the doctor and all that stuff, but they're going to send it out to you for free of charge. Okay? You just got to pay for the Blue Chew, and you get a free shipment, dude. Get those boners going, dude. I used to take some boner pills from the gas station. They'd have like Rhino 10,000, and I don't even know what the 10,000 was, but I would take it, and next day I would have cramps in my leg because the boner pill was trying to get my legs hard instead of my dick hard. So go get that. Support the show. Support the people who support the show, dude. It's very simple. I love boner pills. I know you will too. If you love boners and you love conspiracies, go do it. They got chewables. They work twice as fast as pills. Hook it up. No more awkward situations. And ladies, why can't you get boner pills? Huh? You got a man coming? Pop some boner pills, man. Pop them. Crush fest. I mean, I shank chicks with my fucking boner pill stuff, okay? So that's too long talking about boners. So thank you, guys. Real quick, I want to make an announcement that starting in May, we are doing a book club of the month. And what will be at the end of the month, we will have a comic or the author or somebody will come on and we will discuss the book. And I think it's important for all of us to get together and start reading more books and not just relying on YouTube videos to tell us what the info is. So I'm proud to announce that starting the Tinfoil Hat Book Club, it's going to be the book that started all, 1984, okay? 1984 is the first book. So rent it from a friend, steal it from a friend, buy it from a bookstore if you can. Go down to your local bookstore, buy the classic 1984, read it through May by the end of the month, and we're going to sit down and we're going to do a discussion on it. I may make it a live stream where you can ask questions as we go, but I'm going to get somebody who wants to talk on it, or you guys can suggest somebody you want to talk on. But get the book. It's the Tinfoil Hat Book of the Month. We're going to go with Blue Chew.
It's free with your Audible trial. Can't even say no to it, right?
Can't even say no to it.
Why the fuck are you not doing it?
Why are you doing it? Maybe because it's Amazon, but you know what? I don't hate Amazon. I mean, I don't want them listening to me. That's about it. But besides that,
Get
we're
your
good.
book. Get your book.
Guys, that is the work. What time we at? Give me the time. 6:30. Fuck. That's a good number. I went a little too hard on those boner pills. So today is the second part, like I said, of the two-part series we're doing on Nipsey Hussle. And the second part is going to be about holistic doctors and Dr. Sebi, okay? Joining us are two of my favorite conspiracy podcast hosts. I'm really happy their show is growing. Now they're about to do videos, which is a huge part of growing your podcast. It's the Block is Hot. We have Famous and Tim. Welcome back, guys.
Hey, nice to be here,
What is
Sam.
up?
You wanted fame. I'm going to give it fame. There we go, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. Look at, guys, I shake black people's hands.
We
I
touch
like
around
them,
here.
okay? Yeah, we touch.
Share
Guys,
the
welcome,
energy.
welcome to the show. Real quick, for those who don't remember your awesome last appearance, how many times you been on?
This is going to be our second time on the podcast, but 3 times altogether. We did that show back
The
at the Comedy
Patreon
Store.
show.
the
Yeah,
Patreon
yeah,
show.
yeah. We got to get you guys back there. We got to get you on the show more because I love talking to you guys. Tell us again about your podcast for those who might not saw you on the first appearance.
Oh, well, we go by the Block is Hot podcast. The, like, spelled like the black people way.
THA.
And, yeah, we pretty much, anything that we find that's hot on the block, we put in on our podcast.
What are some typical topics you guys talk about?
We talk more so about like conspiracy theories and also how popular conspiracy theories play into modern day news stories. Like sometimes people will say they believe in the Illuminati and the music industry, but what conspiracy involves the music industry? Is it selling your soul on that dotted line at the crossroads? You know, what are you really getting into?
Okay.
We talk about flat earth, too, sometimes.
Okay. Okay. All
That's a
right.
big one.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. A lot of YouTube channels that deal with the devil, Satan in hip hop do huge numbers. Like, I'm blown away by the numbers I see on these things. I said something yesterday, and I just want to see if you guys feel like I'm off. I feel like after the 80s that black culture got hijacked by not black people.
Definitely.
That at the highest levels, it's, and I'm not going to say any group, but I really do think it's lizard people or some sort of that thing. You know, am I off on that?
You're not, but I feel like it goes way back further than that. I mean, like, yo, I grew up listening to Elvis, and I kind of like, when I look back, he's still like all the black rock and roll, like Chuck Berry. What's the other dude's name? He's the older.
There's the punk band I believe called Death, you know, but no one associates the punk genre with black or African Americans.
Oh, really?
That shit's
Yeah.
crazy. Honestly, it was the punk scene that first accepted rap into like their clubs and whatnot. And that's how like they were able to get hip hop to blow up in the original. I think the group name was like Blondie or something like that, or the chick's name was Blondie.
Yeah.
She introduced everybody to Run DMC.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. So yeah, man, it's like, it's very interesting how, I mean, right now I'm learning in my life that up is down. Like
Yeah.
everything that we think we know, it's the exact opposite. And I wanted to get into this doctor. What's his name again? Dr.
Dr.
Sebi,
Alfredo
aka
Bowman.
Bingo.
Alfredo Bowman.
Yes.
And I want to get into, because I kind of, when this all went down, I wanted to get you guys on and talk about the dangers now that seem to be associated with holistic doctors and how it's very unreported on how many over the last 5 to 10 years, how many holistic doctors have been like off, not just like passed away. And he'll be like, I know Aaron will say, because we talked about NASA, how these guys got off, and he's like, people die, but like they die like weird ways. And we also have theories about, we've also heard stories that like doctors who quote unquote cured cancer, and then we're told if you cure another person, we're gonna fucking hurt you and stuff like that. So I thought this would be a really good podcast to talk about with you guys, and basically your thoughts on what you know about Dr. CB and wherever we want to go from there.
Well, going off of that, like really quick, even like Dr. CB, his whole death is pretty like. So here's this man who's like, he's doing all this holistic healing and whatnot, and then they arrest him on like because he has too much money on him because he was given wrongful information. But
is that what happens?
yeah, I guess he was under the belief that he could have that much money, and then after he got off the airplane, it was like, oh yeah, you can't have more than 10 grand on you, and then pretty much he goes to jail, and then while he's being transferred to a hospital to take care of his illness, which, I mean, who knew he was sick? Apparently, he died in transit. Convenient.
You always think if you get to the hospital, you're good. And then it's amazing how many people were in the hospital and magically died. Like Seth Rich, they said he was in the hospital. He is actually survived. And then suddenly, like all these DNC people who said they weren't there, but like now it's on record that they were there. The doctor that took care of him was like a Clinton doctor. It's all this crazy ass shit. But what were you going to say, Fame?
Well, I mean, first things first, before I even get into it, rest in peace to the late, great Nipsey Hussle, because if it wasn't even for him, I wouldn't have started to look into this type of information. And I think what it comes down to more so is dependency on a system that's already been created for us. Dr. Sebi, what he was preaching more so was he was preaching the idea of health and interdependency on yourself. There's a lot of things in our diet that necessarily weren't designed for us. So if you, not even saying us as black people, I'm saying us as society. Like, if you haven't noticed, they switched up the food pyramid, and you can Google it. We have the old food pyramid that, we grew up in the 90s. I was born in 1991.
God damn.
And
I graduated high school.
Google my age on that. But there was a time where, you had your food pyramid where it was like heavy wheats in the bottom. And then today in 2019, you have this what was it? Glucose? Not glucose. I mean, people that can't handle wheat byproducts and gluten. That's what it is. And
it has a lot of gluten? Crystal meth. That's why I saw that's why I get my crystal meth at Whole Foods. Okay, they have gluten-free crystal meth.
But people would like basically live their whole life based on that diet, and they'd find out that it's not good for them. And I only thought about that because I went through a personal transformation. If I was about 295, 280. And I'm not. Is that
right your whole life you were big, or did?
Oh yeah, I was a fat kid my whole life. I got all the fat jokes, like off top. Like, but the thing is, I was somewhat funny. So as long as I can crack back, doesn't matter. But after I stopped playing football, I dropped a bunch of weight, and I kept my diet based on the food pyramid. And now that I'm researching that that's not even good for us, why have we been preaching this doctrine of the food pyramid, and we've only now recently changed it where it's basically flipped upside down in a sense, like where it's fruits now is more prioritized.
What is up is down, dude.
As above is so below.
Yeah.
Inverted,
I mean, it's all real, dude. And it's just like I have another podcast on this channel called Punch Drunk, and once in a while they like to ask me a conspiracy thing and then just pound on me for it, right? But they asked about 5G. And they were just like, like what? They go, what's the big conspiracy? I go, 5G is gonna fucking give us all cancer.
Bingo.
Why would they do that, dude? Why would they go? Blah, blah, blah? I'm like, dude, because they. And then Esther Koo, who's probably the least conspiracy person in the world, is like, because they want to kill us. That's why. And it's like, yeah. They want to, it's like they're calling this an extinction event, dude.
I'm sure you're familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, right?
I brought that up today, and Aaron was fucking shitting on me today.
Well, picture it like this. If we know that our system of government is possibly one day going to be controlled by AI algorithms and other computer programs, computer has a code and a set of rules that's set to abide by. If you look at the Georgia Guidestones and you input that code or the Guidestones into an AI system that said, keep the population between so-and-so, make sure that so-and-so has so-and-so, and that code of the Georgia Guidestones is written into the AI algorithm, we're all fucked because we all got a social security number. If your social security number is between XYZ, but that means that you're between the ages of 80 through 90 or maybe 60 through 90, well, let's just start exiting them out by giving them medication that's bad for them. There's so many ways that it could be interpreted, but I look at it as a speculation, and it's kind of fun because, you know, we'll talk about conspiracy theories, but when a conspiracy theory that has come to revelation is in your face, you're crazy.
Dude.
What, like, even with that, like, I know, like, they pretty much look. There's a lot of people with, like, your birth certificate. Like, what the fuck is that? It's like, it's just pretty much your slave certificate showing that, like, oh yeah, you're owned by this entity called, like, the U.S.
There is a system to get out of that. I heard that you could actually, through the court system, get out of that contract.
Being a billionaire,
but you really have to go through the shit.
And I always see myself as an average Joe. I don't put myself above anyone on the pedestal of life. I just see it as, hey, I'm not a millionaire, so therefore we're all on the same playing field. Money's what separates us as far as classes go. And I'm no Kylie Jenner or some shit where I'm a billionaire, where obviously she doesn't have that same contract in play. You know, I'm no, you know, young tech billionaire who's just really smart. You know, he figured out the code and cracked it, so now he doesn't have to abide by that contract. I'm still playing off of the contract that was set for me by my grandparents, you know, the white picket fence.
Yeah.
Get a job that's going to treat you good so you get that gold Rolex at retirement. You know, that's what's been put in our head, and, like, I'm still changing it, but at the same time, I'm not going to act ignorant like that's not the system that was put in play for me from the get-go.
For sure, dude. I mean, you get beat down, like, gotta get married, gotta have kids, gotta get... And what does that do to you? And listen, dude, kids are wonderful, marriage is wonderful,
Beautiful.
all that shit. I'm not sitting there poo-pooing any of that, okay? But what I'm saying is, when you do those things, options get limited.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You're
You're less
now.
likely to take risks. You're less likely to rock the boat. You're less likely to challenge authority. You don't want, I mean, like, if we look at conspiracies right now, man, you look at conspiracies, who is not into conspiracies? It's real simple, man. Mostly people who are married with kids and don't want to believe that they brought kids into a fucking shit world.
Still watch ABC TV programming on the reg.
And people whose careers are going really well. And they don't want to have to stop to see what's going on because it might ruin the train, the gravy train,
Bingo.
from rolling. Or two, they might realize they're part of a system that is killing brown people, hurting children, and doing all this fucking shit. Like, dude, we are going to pay a price at some point.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For what we're doing in Yemen. It will either be financially or it will be with our blood when there's a pushback. But the fucking ignoring of the fucking genocide going on in Yemen and the fact that there are people who still want to hold on to this thought that Donald Trump wants to pull us out of all these wars when he pulled 7,000 troops out of fucking Syria, but there's still people there. And then, like, you really got, dude, I know saying this in the conspiracy show,
Yeah.
I could lose so many, and I don't want you to leave me because I question everything and I love all my fans. But, dude, ask yourself, Donald Trump is from New York City. Donald Trump was the guy talking about 9/11 all the time on all the news. What did he just do? He just vetoed a bill that would stop selling arms to the people that we all know funded 9/11. How is the guy that was obviously so shook and so affected by a terrorist attack that he fucking just vetoed that? That is not, that's a sign that, dude, whatever it was, I remembered being 2 years in Obama, and I go, oh, man, we got fucking played, dude. We got fucking played. And I go, when Trump got elected, I go, I'm going to give him 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And around 2 years, they realize either they're going to get reelected or not, and they're going to become who they really are. Mm-hmm. And I know there's people who listen to this podcast and want to get really angry. And I will tell you, if it turns out that I am wrong, I will come on the show and apologize. Because I hope I'm wrong.
That's a virtue, though.
Yeah.
Most people won't even take that ground. I mean, that it's not about being right all the time. It's you. Everyone has the opportunity to change your opinion. You can stand right now and say, "Hey, I believe in this," but later on down the line, you have the right to say, "Hey, I was given new information. You know what? I gotta say, this seems more accurate." You know,
Yeah.
You have that right and that choice. Like, I'll admit, I think I said last time on here, I voted for Obama based on the fact that I'm black. I wanted to tell my kids I voted for the first black president, and that's all it was. I was in high school. I don't give a fuck. But
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the
I'm
end of the day,
Mexican. I'm Mexican, and I would have wanted, and I wanted to say that,
bingo.
you know
It's
what I
nothing
mean?
against it. We had
Yeah.
how many ex-white
did vote.
presidents before that? Like, come on. Like,
Yo, but
it's-
Sam, do you call it a Yemen genocide or a war?
I call it a genocide.
Look what
right?
they call it.
What?
They
A
call it-
human's greatest preventable disaster.
Look at that.
See,
Look at that. They're calling it, and they won't stop it. It's by
Grammar-
2020.
Yeah, they're
grammar
just
is
gonna keep going.
so key to how we are able to express ourselves, and it comes down to they just said the preventable disaster. I think all the politicians just said Easter worshippers instead of Christian after the Sri Lanka bombing. It's grammar is key, and they're just showing you that they're not willing to admit to certain agendas or certain campaigns.
Yeah,
they're,
dude.
they're willing to admit all the other fallacies going on with people, but then when it comes to our people and what we're doing, it's they get really oh no, it's very fine what we're doing.
That's a wonderful point, and it's what we're what we're talking about today, the hunting down and almost the murdering of holistic doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of you guys are going to think we're crazy. What I would like for you guys to do right now is on your next visit to your doctor, who's your family doctor, who you think loves you, ask him about holistic remedies for you to try. And watch him have a a fucking showing the Dracula, the
Yeah.
fucking cross kind of, reaction to that. Because that dude, as much as you think he loves you, is getting kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies.
Bingo.
To fucking prescribe that shit. Dude, this guy, I remember I was young, I had acne on my back. I went to this doctor.
Proactive, huh?
And he goes, oh, dude, no, this is before that. Aaron, what was the acne stuff they gave you before? Retin-A,
Oh,
dude,
God.
which later on they found destroyed your kidneys and shit, right? He's like, oh, you have nasty acne. I'm going to put you on this Retin-A. And I've been reading, I go, fuck that. I'd rather go through my life with back knee than fucking have kidneys given out.
Then go do
Yeah.
dialysis
Oh,
and
yeah,
all the crazy.
I used to work in pharmacy, and there's this one doctor where every patient he sent, no matter what their diagnosis was, he'd give them the same shit, except every once in a while he would throw in some ibuprofen with it, and it's
Well, that's how Proactive works. You use Proactive, and then it goes away. Then you stop using it, and then it gets worse.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
So it's they
over
get you,
time,
they
it
hunt
does-
you. Yeah.
I've used it when I was younger, and I cleaned up my diet a little bit, but I used to have bad acne on my face, so I'd use Proactive. I'm not going to tell you Proactive is a remedy or anything, but dude, I do Proactive over Retin-A, dog. That Proactive isn't fucking your kidneys up. This shit would people are having their kidneys shut down taking that shit, and it just wasn't good. And they knew that, and now we just saw how a pharmaceutical company had I think he's the second one to get arrested for
Oxycontin, wasn't that one that said the big lawsuit settlement?
yeah. Can you go to look up pharmaceutical gets arrested?
Yeah, Bayer had a big one where there's AIDS in their shit, and they found out, and they stopped
Hold
selling to
on.
America,
What?
and then they had AIDS.
Look
in
that
it.
up.
What?
There's
What?
AIDS in the
Bayer,
Bayer.
Bayer had something with AIDS in it, and they found out, and they stopped selling it in America. But then they start selling it in other countries.
I don't think it was necessarily AIDS in the drug. I think it made you more susceptible to the HIV virus, which of course.
Which is why does
if you
that?
have HIV in Africa, you motherfucker, you're getting AIDS. You're not
yeah.
treating that
They're
shit.
sold
Come on.
HIV risky meds.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that helps you fucking. It makes it so it's harder. Like, there's all these things. Like, dude, full disclosure. I go to a meeting. Most of them are gay guys. They've all been slamming fucking drugs, and they all have HIV, and they all have the same stuff. They did poppers, and they all slammed fucking drugs, dude.
Not to cut you off. Speaking of which, because we both finished the last time we were on here, you talked about Beyond a Pale Horse, and we made that our book of the fucking month. And when we read that, it actually talked about, yes, they were talking about how they were distributing AIDS to certain groups, blacks and the gay community, to try to spread that shit. And then, once it spreads like wildfire. You're not going to find it for a certain amount of time. So, like, it makes sense because going back to also holistic doctors, where do our medications stem from? They stem from the herbs and plants that were naturally used for healing. Just because they like concentrated and made it more potent doesn't mean that it's necessarily better for you. Like I like to make the comparison for weed nowadays. Like, you got weed, you got your hashish, and then now you got dabs. Before then, you had the coca leaf. You could chew on that, get a natural energy. Then they made cocaine. Then they made crack.
Yeah. Then they made meth.
Bingo. That's what I'm saying. So, like,
speed is just coke working out the kinks.
And that's how it is with like pharmaceuticals.
Coke is Dane Cook. Meth is Crystalia. They worked out all the kinks. And now you're like, well, I didn't have any of those problems,
Bingo.
But it's like, I want to get into the doctor. Then I want to get into the history of the pharmaceutical company. And you will see that these guys are the real gangbangers, and they will off people with no even hesitation to cover their drug trade. Now, can you tell us, do you guys know anything about the doctor at all?
Well, I do know that the man, Dr. Sebi, a.k.a. Alfredo Bowman.
He was fucking.
Without going into his personal history, like growing up, he came to America and he was diagnosed with like asthma, diabetes. He was
obese.
What was it? He was basically like sterile, like, and he had a few other ailments. And he basically started studying more so. I took a little bit of notes here. He studied in pathology, herbology, and biochemistry, and he started basically researching these things. He went to a doctor in Mexico, and I believe that's how he started getting into the more holistic side of curing and ailments, and he cured himself, and he started researching, and he realized it all starts with the diet, and he realized that if you have excess mucus in your body, the mucus allows more disease to spread. So if you get rid of that by eating alkaline foods, basically you stop spreading disease. So
yeah, it's crazy. Like, as soon as you're sick, what's the first thing you notice?
Your phlegm.
Yeah, your phlegm turns that super nasty yellow color, and then once you start getting over it, it lightens up, and then it's clear. So, I mean, I think part of it is like maybe like there's pus or something that starts getting into it, and like the phlegm is infected, and that's why it's leaking in your throat. You get a sore throat, and you just keep getting sicker.
Well, it's like you guys bring up Mexico. He went down to Mexico. Mexico does a lot of alternative medicine in recovery as well. Like, there's huge ayahuasca rehabs where you just go there and you go hard in the paint on ayahuasca. And like, I know people, Skylar Stone, a good friend of mine, who went down there. His buddy's like, enough of you relapsing. I'm taking you down there. And took him down there, and they went hard in the paint on ayahuasca. And he's just like, he hasn't done drugs since.
Mexicans don't like addiction.
Well, who does?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, in Mexico, like, your family will kick you out and not support you. So they have those places where, like, hey, you're addicted, you got to go there. They'll fix you up.
Oh, really?
But even though the drugs come from Mexico, there's not that much of an addiction problem as it is in the United States.
Yeah, the guns from the United States, drugs from Mexico.
Yeah.
And we kind of exchange them.
Yep, that's what it is.
Well,
I
yeah,
give you this, you give me that, and keep the war going.
Yeah.
It's like in like the Western society, like, even though Mexico's on the West, blah, blah, blah. But like Western society, we're the only ones who believe in like science and pharmaceuticals. When like you go into like Asia or deep into the South, it's like they're all still on like witch doctor shit.
They're not allowed to have commercials about drugs.
Really?
Most countries are not allowed to have commercials about the drugs. Like, those commercials that we have every like at midnight where it says, "Hey, are you feeling happy?
You got mesothelioma?"
Yeah, that bullshit.
Yeah.
They literally
side effects may include rectal bleeding.
Which is everybody. Everybody. They purposely make it so it sounds like it. But by the way, those commercials aren't there to sell you shit. Those commercials are simply there to control the message. Meaning they buy so many ads that if the news runs anything they don't like, okay, they'll pull their ads, and that is people lose their jobs. Even though I think the people who own the pharmaceutical companies are the same people who own the fucking networks, and it's just this weird money cycle bullshit of just a shell game of just fucking, a snake chasing its tail, and it's not real. Like the same people own everything.
Me personally, I think it's a triangle system, and you have fast food, you have doctors, and then you have the media. It's a triangle. You'll have the fat chick that's told, or the fat dude, don't want to get fucking people pissed. You have the fat person who's told by the media to love their fat body, who goes to the doctor, who tells them that you should lose weight. Backtracking off of what the media said, they go back to the fast food restaurant that's designed to keep them fat, and it just keeps going around a triangle because the doctor's going to give you diabetes medication. He's going to give you cholesterol medication. He's going to give you high blood pressure medication, which is all designed to keep you in this fucked up like triangle just of self-hate, and then also they're going to get their money. Like, that's just all it is. And that's why I think that when you have these herbalistic doctors, they're always telling you to change your diet. And once you change your diet, you start feeling better mentally, healthy. Like, you see the change in your body, and you realize, I don't need the drugs if I take these vegetables that are giving me what the drugs are giving me on the supplemental basis,
Low key, that's like what got Dr. Sebi in the position that he got in, because they only licensed doctors could tell you what to do with your health. And
don't even get me started on that. The only I'm socialist on some things, and I'm libertarian on some shit. And people go, you can't be I'll be whatever I want to be, okay? You don't tell me what I am. And one thing I believe with libertarians is getting rid of cost of entry, fee of entry, which is, we've done shows in the past where we discussed the amount of money you have to spend to become a doctor.
Bingo. Yes.
And they just keep jacking it up. And now, just like we talked about on that episode, they are now getting nurses to, in fact, do doctor shit.
And that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because you need to start paying nurses more for that type of work.
Well, it's not even that.
And
They're
what's the
not
degree?
qualified. So what they're doing right now is they go, okay, you have a short attention span, you're depressed, and you have you can't take good shits. Oh, take this drug, take that drug.
Honestly, they're letting the algorithm do the doctoring for them. Where it's like, yo, I'm not that motherfucker. Why are you going to give me the same shit that he needs?
Yeah.
I'm just depressed because maybe I just got fired from my job.
Yeah.
And I do happen to have the shits right now.
Yeah.
Real chop, the first people that are probably going to go when the machines start coming are doctors and lawyers. Because if we have MRI machines, they can literally scan a body and figure out what's wrong with it. What the fuck do we need a doctor for when they don't even change bed fans? We need nurses, MRI machines, and maybe a few head doctors to make sure that the shit we're reading is like, oh, that makes sense. All right, you're good.
I think we need doctors.
Even think about lawyers, though. All lawyers
I'm fine with
read
getting rid of lawyers.
because they read
I've had
case
some
studies.
lawyers in
But
my
I mean,
life,
if we got things that can scan bodies on some future AI shit, all I'm saying is what do doctors really do anymore?
I'm pro people, so I would
me too.
never
Me too.
want to get rid of any jobs for
always pro
fucking
people.
robot. And I'm not saying that,
But
you
yeah.
are. I know what you're saying, dude. But it's I'm very pro people. We just see driverless cars. We're gonna get rid of 25% of the jobs in the world. Well, why are we doing it then? We need people to buy shit. You need to have people buy shit. But going back to the pharmaceutical company, so there's this comic named Andrew Santino, who's a wonderful comic, good friend, and a great guy. He had a joke he was going to do on a Showtime special about back knee, okay? They told him he could not do that joke. Why? Because Showtime is owned by a company that owns a pharmaceutical thing. So listen to this.
That's whack.
So then you go to Penn and Teller show, and I love Penn and Teller. They are wonderful guys. Their magic and comedy is spectacular. That show's interesting, but they did a real disservice when they did the show on AA. Okay, because they did a show on AA about getting sober and sobriety, and you had Charlie Sheen with his AIDS telling everybody, oh, dude, only 5% of the people fucking survive. Well, Charlie, what is sobriety? What is happiness? What is successful? If I'm a crackhead living outside sucking dick for crack money and I go 6 months without sucking one dick or smoking any crack and maybe I relapse a little, I think that's a success.
Yeah.
And maybe I get back on the horse. So what they do, Showtime does that. They put out that Penn and Teller thing in which they demonize the 12-step program and they make it seem like a cult. Let me tell you about 12-step programs. And we're not supposed to talk about it, but I feel like it needs to be said. If it's a cult, it's the only cult that I never have to show up for. I never have to do anything. I never have to give $1. I don't have to do anything I don't fucking want to do unless I want to get sober. And then I follow these fucking rules,
We
okay?
have coffee.
Right?
Lots of
you don't
coffee.
have to pay for that, dude.
Exactly.
You
I've
can
been
go.
to them. I've been to one of them. They have coffee. They're good people.
Yeah,
You get to
someone
tell
was court-ordered.
stories.
I feel like part of the reason why they do that is because like the 12-step program, you're supposed to like give yourself up to a higher power. They don't want that shit. They don't want anybody looking for a god.
Yeah, or a spiritual, or whatever you want to believe. I believe God is a black British lesbian who DJs in heaven. Like we all have our own fucking people. But the point is this, dude. Like the claws are deep. The claws are deep, and like even the people you trust the most have to play a little ball, or else they get kicked off. They don't get that thing. That show, I thought, did a real disservice to a lot of people who work really hard to help a lot of people out. But back to Dr. Sebi, okay? So he claims that he cured, cancer, and we'll get into, because this fits into it. You can go to Cuba. They've been curing cancer for a long time. Okay? Why isn't that here? Why isn't that here?
It's
We're not communists.
I think it's just it's the money pit of the pharmaceutical industry, and no one in this country really reads anymore, and no one takes personal accountability anymore. We're all responsible for the information that we intake and the information that we output. So I think a lot of people find it easier just to take the information given to them and just say that that is the facts because I heard it on TV. But I think that in other countries, they look at other alternative methods and they don't just ground it based upon one narrative. And not even being on a conspiracy tip, I just think it's more so about the information you receive.
So I couldn't agree more. I mean, like you look at it, like we've now gotten to a society where they tell you what they want you to know from that article in the title of the article.
Yeah.
And that's all the information you get.
Clickbait. Yeah.
And we know that people just read that and then they make their own story from there on. Right?
No, they don't even click the rest of it.
Yeah.
They just read that shit and they run with it and they tweet about it and they post about it and tell their friends.
They read the little bit that's like shown on the internet browser page and then they keep scrolling past like, okay, I know all the things I need to know about this.
Yeah,
real quick.
and
Keep
as
going.
I say all this shit, I drink Red Bull, which I know is fucking bad for me.
We're just
you know?
at Shakey's, bro.
How'd you find out about when
I know, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How'd you find out when Nipsey Hussle died? Where were you? What were you guys doing?
Woke up from a nap.
I forgot where I was at. I just remember looking on Instagram and I was like, oh, Nipsey Hussle got shot. That sucks. And then I looked like
I
5
thought it
minutes
was
later.
fake news. Literally,
Really?
I was like, this ain't real. I mean, it's just regular bullshit. I just kept scrolling. It was
Hold on, you didn't want to believe a rapper got shot?
No, I just thought it was just more of a random bullshit that they throw at you. Because I was like, there's no way. It said outside the store. It's like midday. I thought midday. I was like, it would at least be at night. No, this guy.
I love Baytown where the sun's
you get touched. You get touched at any moment of the day, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know, to me, it was one of those things where I was like,
So-
it's not real.
So they you know, he the big thing is that he went to court about they could cure. I want to get into this. So, you know, Cuba says they've been curing cancer for a very long time. But why isn't it here? And there's always been this saying that if you cured cancer, the U.S. economy would crash. I think that's just scaring people and all that stuff. But what I will tell you is there's a lot of incentive not to cure cancer because there's a lot of money coming in to research cancer. I'm going to say something right now that will get a lot of people very upset. I will not give money to cancer research anymore. I will give money to, hey, let's get some fucking special forces protection around holistic doctors, or let's get a legal service that will sue these companies that are putting fucking AIDS fucking medication out and stuff like that. But listen, man, I've had family members die from cancer. I've had friends die from cancer. It's an ugly ass thing. But I know for a fact they have a cure to cancer.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're not putting it out.
I mean, I can't go as extreme as to say I can't donate. And the only reason why, because like, I have a more personal attachment. My mother did pass away from breast cancer.
Dude, and I get that. My grandfather did. My cousin did.
So I'm all for the research. My thing is, if I'm more so of a stopping the producing of things that cause cancer, like 5G. We know that's going to start causing probably
Listen
more
up,
brain
There's fucking
more brain
warnings
cancer.
on the iPhone.
So,
hey, Aaron, real quick.
but again,
listen to this.
you wouldn't even know about that unless you're actually searching through it, and you can't even sue AT&T or any cell phone company because it's considered a type of waste like smog.
And because you signed their agreement.
Bingo. So
Every time
that's
you
what I'm
update
for
that
too.
phone.
Like we got to do both. Like yes, I think we should find a cure for the natural forms of cancer, like skin cancer. Like that's sun radiation. We can't fight the fucking sun. And once we
Black
can,
Dog,
then
they'll get that.
hey, that's it. But I think those things and like, but we know certain things cause certain types of cancer. We should be now spreading more awareness and changing those things.
And why are the people who know these things cause cancer allowing them to move forward? Why?
It's a money cycle of it funds the study and the cure, so-called cure, but then it also promotes awareness. So that's media dollars, creating commercials and creating more advertisements. It's all in a circle to keep things going. But the people that can afford the treatments, they're not looking for advertisements. They know the doctor. Like,
Yeah. So it's like, how many high-end super elites do you know died of cancer?
Those motherfuckers live forever.
I know Ted Kennedy. And then I know Steve Jobs. Who else? And I'm not saying it didn't, but like,
do you really think though that like Steve Jobs was a part of that elite group? Like, I mean, he created great stuff. He was a guy that started a business in his garage, created great technology. But it's kind of like the in a sense Elon Musk's, how he goes on these kind of like warning campaigns talking about the dangers of AIs and the technology. Like, I was telling Tim the other day. I was saying how I think all these programs that he's developing on Earth is just the tests for like outer interstellar exploration. Like these programs like Tesla, the Boring Company, all these nanolink technologies, it's all designed for when we eventually start trying to go to Mars or create a moon base. Like
I like his theory for like the Boring Company. Why do we need flamethrowers?
yeah, I mean, come on, I want a flamethrower. That's just fun.
dude, I do a joke about like the best gig in the world. People think stand-up's the best gig. The best gig in the world is Elon Musk's Coke dealer. That guy's just constantly coming up with Coke business ideas. I mean, flamethrower, something that's a Coke idea right there. But I mean, like, so WikiLeaks, and you know, there's a good chance we're about to do a WikiLeaks. We're gonna do a Julian Assange episode.
That'd be a good one.
Next on the 13th with Jimmy Dore. I'm trying to get Abby Martin on. What did you say?
I said, ooh.
Trying to get them on to discuss it, but you know, it's like WikiLeaks just did a dump. They said, and one of them is that there's actually moon bases. There's bases on the moon.
China said they're trying to put one on the moon by I think 2024.
Oh, I thought China already had one on the moon.
And that like
on the dark
supposedly we
side.
destroyed Russia's base on the moon. Yeah, we own a Russia. We have a like it makes no sense. Like we're at war with Russia on the moon, yet we have an international space station with them. Yeah. Like it just things don't fucking add up.
It's ideals of old, like your grandfather or like your dad will think, like my dad will still say shit like the Ruskies. Like who the fuck still says the Ruskies? But that's the generation he was growing up in.
Yeah.
But if on the main level, the people that all meet up in secret, the Bilderbergs, whatever you want to label them, they know that they're still on this globalist agenda. Mm-hmm. So if people want to say you're going to Mars, the only logical step is to go to the moon. But if they've been doing stuff on the moon from the get-go, and that's how we're getting all these things kind of done, like, and they've already put in our mind that a base on the moon is fathomable. It's just like going to the moon. Like we released all those movies
I think
before
we're
going
on
to the
every
moon.
planet, dude.
Yeah, low key, you need like stops from here to Mars anyway. So why not just stop at the moon?
Stop at the moon.
some
We've been on
tequila.
all of them, dude. We've been on all. I think if the space is real, and a couple of my friends on the show don't believe that, but if space was real, okay, then you would see that that we've probably been on everyone. Now, dude, and then you get into like these guys who say the CIA and the government have come up with time travel, like time holes where you just walk through and you're there. Now you're like right there.
There's been a lot of movies coming out about the idea of space travel and quantum physics. So
Yeah.
I used to follow CERN really heavy back then, and they talked about how they achieved the idea for time travel and that it's possible. And then they're reaching and knocking on the doors of things that are more on board with religion and ancient mythos than science. So they don't even know what the fuck to believe.
Yeah, have you ever seen their
dark arts, bro? We are opening. I just did a show for CW on the Montauk Project, dude, and like the Montauk Monster and all that shit. Like, I totally believe that shit could happen. Whether it happened there or not, I don't know. And you'll see on the show, we do the research.
Okay.
But I mean, dude, I believe, like we were talking earlier, it's simulation. Anything is fucking possible, dude. But back to Dr. Sebi. So we have this whole, if you're talking about Behold the Pale Horse, we all know that AIDS is a man-made disease. Where our videos you can watch of the guy who created it being grilled by some reporter who had the balls to ask him, like, he took like raccoon polio and took like fucking like chihuahua strep and he fucking put it together, and that's how we got AIDS, man. And like everyone thought somebody fucked it. It's so funny that they're like, yeah, dude fucked a monkey and got AIDS. You're like, no,
who told you that?
Yeah, nobody told me that, right?
Like, that's on scientific record.
Yeah, but we know this guy basically comes out and admits, and there's documents to it. Jesse Ventura has released documents to say about it. So these things are all man-made, dude. And so this guy comes out, this Dr. Sebi, he says he cured AIDS. He said he cured all that stuff. And so a lot of people think the trial and how they're spinning it is that he said that they were trying him for lying about curing, but I've also been told it was more a trial about whether he's a real doctor or not.
That is
that's what a lot of it was, because he pretty much went in the newspaper saying like, yo, we can cure this for you. And that's what got the attention of all the higher ups. And before he went into his trial, he was on interviews, he was like, yeah, my mom was telling me like, yo, they're gonna come after you for this. And then he even goes on saying like, yeah, that was kind of part of the plan, so everybody can hear about this and know that this is a real thing. And he was prepared for that trial, and he knew he wasn't going to get caught up in it, because he doesn't give people medicine. He didn't give people their doctors like notes saying like, oh yeah, you're cured. What he did was he told people, eat this shit, and then once you find out what's good with your health, then come back to me with the results. And that's exactly what they did. And like a lot of the people, like, there was people that were blind. They came back to him and they were like, yeah, I'm able to see. The doctor even says my retinal, whatever the fuck is called, is gone. My cancer is gone. My AIDS is gone. All this shit is gone. And then those are the same people that he had them come in and testify for him, along with their doctors saying like, yeah, you did it. And like a lot of it is all based on, he didn't give anybody medicine, but like his whole thing was, we're not focused on the chemistry, because where did the chemistry come from? It's based on the herbs. And that's all he did, was give people the herbs.
Yep. So basically in 1987, he was charged with practicing medicine without a license. And it was only after he put an ad in the paper saying that you have to put a $500 deposit, to get screened and get looked at, which again is money. Pharmaceutical companies didn't like that. Yep. And then every time you came, it was an $80 initial fee after that. And that's when they came and they said, you have to bring one patient in for each of the diseases that you supposedly cured. And he brought in over 70 people. And when they were questioning him, the judge was like, yo, so have you guys even investigated this man? The judge, like the attorney was like, well, no. And then he said, well, where are you getting? It's like, it's all from the herbs. Like, and here's what I'm doing. It's like, he's like, where do you get your medicine from? How are they created? From herbs and from extracts. Yeah, what's the difference? That's what he was saying. And he was like, well, I can't charge this man when he's clearly doing everything that you say he's not doing. So I mean, it's again, it all comes down to diet, and we suppress that because, again, pharmaceutical industry.
Fucking
Then like even if like it were to go, if everybody became super conscious about what they ate and whatnot, think about all the corporations that end up going down because there's going to be a giant change in what everybody's consuming. Like there would be no
I
more.
couldn't agree more,
Yeah,
dude.
there wouldn't be beer.
So
Couldn't agree more.
So, and another thing is, people will try, the skeptics will say, like, oh, then how come he died of pneumonia? Well, when he was arrested, again, Tim said it earlier, he was given incorrect information about how much cash you can carry. Even now, I think you can't carry more than 5,000. It might be 3,000 when you go overseas. And he died at 82 years old in basically solitary confinement in a prison where he's not staying consistent to the diet that he's been on.
Now he has to eat slop.
So now basically he has to eat slop. Of course he's going to start developing more diseases because he's not on that same diet plan that he's been so strict to. So people try to call him a quack based on him dying of pneumonia because he said that he cured it. Well, if he's been preaching stay on a certain diet, and then you take this 82-year-old man off of his strict diet, what do you think he's going to do?
I love how people are like, oh, dude, he died. He's 82, man.
Yeah, like-
You're lucky to make 82 if you even want to make 82.
Bingo.
Yes.
Right? I mean, those aren't fun years, bro. Those aren't fun years. But it's very interesting. So he basically comes out, makes his point, and that what do they throw him in jail for?
Because
Money laundering
yeah.
because he had too much. He had
Some
like
bullshit
he had like
charge.
30 grand on him the first time, and then the second time he had like 50K on him.
Dude, it's so interesting because basically, dude, I don't know if you how often you're on Instagram, but you see these Instagram models, and then they'll be like, "Oh, we're in fucking Dubai." Yeah, you're hooking.
Yeah,
but you're
keep it
getting
real.
paid insane money, right?
Yes.
Insane money. But what happens is these girls come back and they got this cash. Border Patrol just jacks most of it because they're coming back with 100 grand, 100,000. And
You
boom,
can't travel like
you
that.
You can't travel like that.
Yeah.
Again, ignorance of the law is no excuse, and that's essentially what they got him on. He took bad advice, had too much cash. We got you. We got you.
And if they can't get you on the first charge, they'll get you on the second charge.
And these secret societies and whoever you want to attach the label to, it's not just held in the United States. Like you
Yeah.
can go, it's everywhere.
Yeah, somebody
Everybody's
said that.
part of
It's
the
a
game.
global thing.
You can move wherever the fuck you want. You can move here. You can move there. But guess what? You know, the globalists are everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you want to hear my theory? Netflix is the beginning of one world entertainment.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could see.
Yeah,
I could
there's
see
a
that.
lot of like as an anime watcher, there's a lot of like Japanese and even Chinese things that go up on Netflix where I'm like, yo, this is so fire. Fuck watching this American shit. I want to see that.
Yeah, and then now, because, dude, I've seen it happen. Like, I used to do China almost every year. I don't do China as much as I used to, but I used to do it every year. But the first time I went back, like 10-some years ago, they didn't understand anything I'm saying. Now I go there, they get every one of my references. And
Censorship.
like most of the thing, like that to me isn't necessarily bad. But the problem with one world is that if we're all one world, laws that make this country special get thrown out the door.
Oh, yeah.
Like the right to privacy, the right to criticize your government, and all that stuff.
Right to bear arms.
And
I mean-
listen, they will get rid of the right to freedom of speech the minute they don't need the notion that Western civilization is more unique than communism. And I just discovered this thing. It's called Operation Long Leash. Have you heard of this?
No.
Basically, Operation Long Leash started a long time ago. And it was basically right after the sinking of the Titanic. And basically what the CIA wanted to do was to show the world that Western civilizations was much better than communism and fascism because their artists were allowed to criticize the government. So they actually promoted people who talked shit about the government. And that's what the First Amendment is, like the freedom of speech.
Makes sense,
Which makes
yeah.
us unique. But that's put there so that we could fucking fight off communism, socialism, all this other things that we've been called bad, which communism, when the government owns everything, it's bad.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
But we are in fascism right now. What's fascism? When the government and private sector come together and the government starts controlling all the private sector. Now, I am somebody who's for one single payer because we need to have a system that checks the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry from just raising rates left and right.
Or there should always be some type of checks and balances.
What's fucked up is they have two, like, on each side there's like individual, and then they're able to get compromised by the other side, so then it ends up blending like what we're having happen right now.
Yeah, but it's so interesting, this stuff, but the criticism of it. But, you know, so he breaks the law. It's like Al Capone. Like the more and more I study the CIA, the more and more I go, the mafia got a bad rap.
Oh,
they at least had rules, which was like respect other people's family. We don't off people's family. Like the CIA will off your family.
well, I mean, the mafia gets a
kill
bad
your
rap
dog.
as a whole. I mean, at the end of the day, they were just working within the gray areas of the laws that are already imposed. I mean, I'm not going to say the murder was right, but I mean, can you be mad at someone who was skimming a little bit off the gas and not paying Uncle Sam, but making sure that you got some extra gas in your tank? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I don't look at the guys that do more so crimes that don't affect the little guy, but fuck the government over. Like, okay, whatever. That's the whole goal of life, is to fuck the government over.
I
fuck with
root
Robin
for
Hood.
bank robbers.
Every time I jaywalk, I enjoy the fuck out
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
dude. I commit
My
crimes
time.
just to get keeps my teeth white. I steal sugars from fucking Starbucks, jaywalk. I root for bank robbers. As long as nobody dies, get that money, dog. Get that fuck, because a bank will rob you in a heart fucking beat, dude.
That's why we tasted better when it was
That's
illegal.
What's fucked up. Like, all right, so like if the bank owes you money, like it'll take forever to get that shit, and like they won't give you interest. But as soon as you owe them money, they're like, oh, we're going to shut down your bank account. We're going to give you some bad credit. We're going to do everything we can to fuck you until we get back our money.
Yep.
And then there's nothing we could do about it.
100%,
That shit's
dude.
fucked.
100%. And you know, we just had an operation about the CIA, and basically they run the drug trade. Okay,
Yeah.
but you know what, man? They also fucking probably run the pharmaceutical companies. And dude, World War II was not about an assassination attempt on a fucking prince. Nope. The king.
Was Archduke Ferdinand or some
Yeah,
shit?
whatever his ranking on the chessboard was, I don't even know. Okay, I don't know what part of Game of Thrones he was, but they tried to take him out, and they used that as the thing. The real reason for World War I was to get the pharmaceutical industry out of Germany into the United States. Now, if you really go back to an old episode, Tinfoil Hat, I have my best friend from high school, Tony Dorado, who right after high school got really religious, started studying the book according to him, the way Jesus did it, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That is what he says, regardless of what you think of religion or anything like that. And he took me through the Bible. We had a discussion on all the stuff he had told me that was going to happen that ended up happening. And one thing he told me is that this is all what's going on in the world right now is a straight up fucking lost tribes of Israel versus pagans, okay? And that the lost tribes are the UK, the United States, and Israel are the lost tribes. And the rest, and Germany is the head of the pagans. And so it's going to be lost tribes versus pagans, right? And this is just basically a bunch of old crazy people trying to bring on the end of days. That's all this shit is. It's like old fucks who invested in a story, and they're getting towards the end of their lives, and like, fuck, when's this rapture happening, man? 'Cause I gave up a lot of pussy and a lot of shit to try to make this shit fucking happen, and now nothing's going down. So what they wanted to do was these power bankers wanted to get the pharmaceutical company out of Germany, because Germany's going to be the head of the the pagan movement, okay? So they got it out of there, and they brought it to the United States. And then that's when we see this gangster ass shit happen, where like it becomes about pharmaceuticals, and it's a billion, if not trillion-dollar industry.
You know what? If that were the case, I can make a defense for that, only because it seems like those are the three countries that have the most dependencies on drugs. Like the UK is fucked for drugs.
Yeah.
United States has an opium epidemic, And what was the third one?
Israel.
Israel, no, I don't think as much so, but they just got wars and shit, so that's fucking bad enough.
Well, that whole area is
Yeah.
Mesopotamia, dude. There's something going on there.
They're
that's
already
beyond us.
fighting a spiritual battle. We're fighting an internal spiritual battle that's fucking us up with all our drugs and
But
internal
Iran
poisoning.
is part of the
Like-
pagans. You know, you see how it's done. It's like it's going to be pagans versus Israelites, and it's coming, dude. And you see them forcing it and forcing it and forcing it. But the pharmaceutical company is a whole different thing. I mean, like we've done podcasts on it, like Vietnam, Afghanistan, all about poppy.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
about fucking poppy. Now, if you try to get off the pharmaceutical, I mean, we just did a story. We was going to do a podcast on Britney Spears trying to get off her medication.
Gosh, she might be a clone.
And well, that's the story they're telling us, is that it was about medication. It could easily be about
speaking of
clone.
which, do you see
Aaron, thoughts? Only kid.
You see that new Will Smith trailer about the clone? He has a clone that's trying to kill himself as like the original one. And it's like, why are you here? I was created to kill you.
What is that?
Oh fuck!
Go find Will Smith.
It's like Gemini, I think. Will Smith. It's like it's yeah.
Will Smith clone. Okay, so she supposedly wants to get off her medication. Her dad's like, "Fuck you! You're staying on it," and threw her in a mental facility.
Yeah.
So now it's like people can be forced to take medication when they don't want to.
And if she's a part of that life, I mean, hey, what is it? Go to there and then take some new, take some pills, get some new brainwashing treatment, get you back on ball.
Isn't that what like Kanye was going crazy about it? He was going like, yeah, they're always trying to keep me on these medications, and then like it's like, yo, when he's not on those medications, like he's this brilliant mind, he's just a crazy ass.
Yeah.
I guess.
So what's this, a movie? But it's kind of like
He's playing like young, fresh Prince, like
that's
Will
the
Smith.
new age shit they're doing,
Yeah.
right? Which is really bad for young actors, because what they're now gonna do is just basically take these brands that are around forever and just keep them looking young, keep them looking young. So the natural order of, you know, older people replaced by younger people. You know, it's like, I'm a comic, dude.
You can buy someone's likeness now. I think that's why they did the whole Tupac clone thing. There's one guy that owns the patent for those like holograms, and he owns a bunch of likenesses. So just imagine all these people that just died. Like, unfortunately, you know, we can throw Nipsey Hussle into it. If he never thought about buying his likeness, this guy could eventually buy his likeness and work out a deal to promote his music as a hologram in certain events and venues, or even anyone, you know?
That's a crazy thing in the music industry. We had buddies that were I forgot who came up to him trying to sign them, and they're like, yo, no matter where in the universe your likeness or music is played, we own that shit.
And grammar's key. Why the fuck did you need to say universe?
Exactly.
Who the hell? Where are we going? I ain't promoting music on Mars. Like,
Oh my God.
but that was a legit contract that he had him sign, and they refused it because they're like, no, we worked hard to build up this little clout that we got.
Yo,
and
if I
let's
get
just
to
do
Mars,
independent."
like-
Yeah, someone bought the rights for Tupac's hologram for Coachella. They have them. Like,
Yeah, I
you
know the
can't-
guys
yeah.
did that. They wanted.
dude.
It costs a lot of money to have them on there. That's
But
why they won't redo
That's a
it.
He
big
can open
thing
up a
with,
showcase in Vegas.
Why,
Yeah.
why they
Yeah.
said
Get a tour.
Everybody's talking. Go on. Sorry, finish.
yeah, that was like a big thing where like when Tupac got killed, was that he was trying to bring all his shit into Machiavelli, which was owned by him. So then he would have owned his likeness, and there wouldn't be no holographic Tupac now.
Dude, if you take a look at Prince, Michael Jackson, Louis C.K., Bill Cosby is going to do. Now, Bill Cosby 100% did. But it's like you look at all these guys, they are all, well, they all have, and dude, we talked about last night, when you go off the reservation, when they make you and you go off the reservation, they get pissed and you pay a price.
Yep.
So when you go off the reservation, what else are we talking about? We're talking about holistic doctors, right? So scroll down. These are okay. Go back down. Go down. Okay, over 60 holistic doctors have died mysteriously. Keep going down.
Over 90.
Over 90.
Over 90 holistic doctors have died.
Yeah, I have a whole list of some right here, dude.
And that's back in 2016, so I'm sure
Yeah,
there's more.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
They only grow. They only grow.
And
Yeah.
again, it goes against, if you're going against that narrative, like I would consider chiropractors as well holistic doctors. I've had friends that like have had back problems and they've been recommended surgery, went to a chiropractor a few times, started doing yoga and actually stretching out those muscles. No need for surgery. But why is this doctor never even choosing an alternative method?
I'm telling you,
They get
ask
paid
your
by it.
family doctor about holistic medicine and watch him fucking.
Just laugh it off. Like, oh, you don't want to do
Look at
those
these,
crazy
how many
people.
doctors? I guess they're all crossed out because most of them are dead. Here we go.
33.
33. Look at this. Look at this. Keep going down. Keep going down. Look at all these. Who kills a gynecologist with holistic medicine? You know? Offered coffee enemas to treatment of cancer. Died of apparent heart attack. Heart attack while running.
jogging.
Oh, in the heart attack machine?
Heart attack. Killed himself. Killed himself.
Hey,
You
isn't
know?
there like a heart attack weapon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Drowned while on vacation.
Suicide.
Suicide. Delivered drugs right to the random attack. Crime of opportunity for which attackers being charged.
Drowned while on vacation in Hawaii.
yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, that actually does happen a lot.
You know? I
He
mean,
was
like,
being drunk and reckless.
described the death as accident but totally unexpected. Outspoken against complications of Lyme disease. I mean, she killed herself. Heart attack.
5-year-old died with murder. Oh, I thought,
You know? I mean, just like retired chiropractor. Neighbor confessed to murder. Dude, it's just like more and more dying. I know I'm going to hear from people
Poison.
die, you know, but it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, we just see it
What's
all
that way? Said
Well,
she was
if
poisoned by
people
one of her
die,
employees.
why are so many people mad at anti-vaxxers? I mean, in Japan, they're pretty cool if you don't want to vaccinate your kid. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, we all gotta go. Let's stop fearing death. I mean,
That doesn't scare me at all.
I
was
can't
that?
speak because I mean,
I
I was
just
vaccinated
won't
as a
kill
kid,
myself.
But yeah, like, I mean, if I'm not gonna treat someone like shit because they don't want to vaccinate their kid, and I mean, I get it.
Have you
know,
heard of the
it is
story
what it
where
is.
like the kid, he's like suing his mom because he didn't get vaccinated, and now he's 18 and still alive? It's like,
Yeah.
think she's,
you
like,
won.
countersuing him.
These stories are all stupid, and they're all plants. And it's just like, dude, people when I was young got the measles. It wasn't the end of fucking days.
No.
Dude, measles weren't killing back in the day. And let me tell you something. If you're vaccinated, why are you worried about the unvaccinated? And this is where Aaron's going to come in because I know he's going to talk mad shit, dog.
Oh, like the cattle thing where it's like you need about 90% of people to be vaccinated. But again, though, it's like I don't think the number of unvaccinated trumps the amount of vaccinated. So I think you're probably still at 90%. And if so, if they're not going to, fuck it. All right, so if they want to let their kid like die because they're not vaccinated, again, I can't talk shit because I was vaccinated, so fuck it. But I mean, if that's the new
Yeah,
way,
but when you were
fuck
vaccinated,
it.
it was probably different. There was
Yeah,
probably
I've had
20. Now it's like 1,000 fucking backs.
I haven't had a flu shot since 2009. I've had the flu maybe 3 times since there, and like that's like 10 years. Fuck it. Like it's after a certain point, like I can't.
The
like,
one time I got the flu shot, I ended up getting the flu and pneumonia.
Yeah, same thing. I was way worse than I'd ever been sick before, and they say, "Well, that's the problem." It's
Listen,
like, oh, fuck it. Like
if they tell you you have to do something or you can't talk about something, they're trying to hide something, right? Right?
yeah.
Like if it was so important, why when they tell you you have to vote? They don't do that. Okay? Listen, man, if you're vaccinated and you get the measles, that means your vaccination didn't work.
Yeah,
Okay?
you were one of the rare ones. It didn't take. Fuck it.
And if you get a special fucking thing because one person in your class didn't have the vaccine, guess what? You didn't have the vaccine for that form of measles. Has nothing to do with that other fucking person.
And if you die, isn't that Darwinism? Survival of the fittest. Maybe you just weren't built for this life. Literally,
And
you weren't
tell
built for this
me-
life.
Reminds me of people with peanut allergies. You just weren't meant for this life.
Yeah, like, sorry, fam. Like
You're allergic to
Dana
shrimp.
has
you can't
a
enjoy this
peanut
Howlin'
allergy.
Raised chicken.
Dana has a peanut allergy. We're sensitive to that shit.
sorry.
But you fucking scumbag.
It hurts when it's your own.
The point is that there's no real argument for it. And what people need to do is start answering, why is there a link to autism? Why is there a link to autism? Why is autism at the highest level it's ever been with all these vaccinations? Until you can answer me that, talking to a certain person, okay, you can't tell me about anything else. You're dealing in hypotheticals.
And you
when
can skew the
we're
numbers.
dealing in actual factual numbers. You're hypothetical of, I might get measles. Measles never killed people back in the day. It was like the chicken pox.
And like there's also the studies, like, you know, just because there's numbers to support that it doesn't cause autism, how many people had their kids get vaccinated and then started reporting about autism? How many people, like, I mean, if your baby came out and it's kind of fucked up looking, they may want to run some tests on it. That's just being straight up. Like, I'm like, I mean,
Hi, welcome to the Fucked Up Baby podcast. We talked about your fucked up baby.
I'm just saying. But if you were like, oh, I got a healthy ass baby, and then you get a shot, and then like the next day your baby's kind of fucked up a little bit, you're like, wait a minute, I know I didn't drop my kid, nothing happened. It just wake up like this.
This
like,
is a real question. I would like to know if anyone's ever had a baby with autism that didn't get vaccinated. Like, what is that number?
Bingo.
Hey, that's a great question.
But
What
no,
is the
they don't
number?
talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't think check for that because I think by that time they may have already had at least one vaccination, so they wouldn't even think about it. And then, like I said, there's those rare babies that when they come out, you can see like that's not a regular baby.
Yeah, because don't you get shat out the womb and then they just start slapping with needles, making sure you're like good or whatnot?
Well, they barely even ask you if you want your kid to get circumcised and shit.
Yeah.
They just fucking do that shit sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't stand up
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, wasn't it like back in the 90s? I
Can
think
I have
there's
my
like a
kid
bunch
in
of kids.
Costa Rica? What is the rules on that if you have a kid in Costa
I
Rica?
think they get dual citizenship.
Are they
though,
still
right?
American?
I think so. Yeah, I
Well,
think.
that's where my
Yeah.
kid's getting fucking born.
I'm pretty sure because like, I think that happens with soldiers a lot. Like they'll have kids like
Yeah,
overseas.
well,
or,
that's
like,
they're on bases and shit. So
But
like,
nah, picture the chick that's like pregnant. I know you shouldn't be traveling in your third trimester, but let's just say you happen to go across the border to Mexico right quick, and then pop one out.
I want to spend a couple seconds as we come to the end, just going over the ruins. Were nice enough to help me with some. Oh my God, dude. Here's go. I want to get into some holistic doctors that have been kind of fucked with. Mass poisoning, September, and thank you to the ruins and everybody worked on this. Mass poisoning. Can you click on that? Mass poisoning. Mass psychedelic overdose at German conference,
You can overdose
September
on
2015. 29 doctors conference outside of Hamburg were dosed with hallucinogens at a conference called hallucinogen called 2CE. They were overdosed with it. People aren't sure if it was a mass trip or a prank.
You can OD on psychedelics.
yeah, wait, what's 2C? I want to know what that is because I like psychedelics. I don't want to take that.
Here are
bit of
some
acid and
doctors
shrooms,
who
I've
have
never killed nobody.
died. Jeff Bradstreet was an American doctor, alternative medicine, and a child support. He was killed in 2015. Teresa Slevers, dude, when they're hot chicks, that's even worse. Okay?
Wasted talent.
Insurance
worse.
murder. She's dead. Dr. Mitchell Gaynor, okay? He died. He's found dead on Tuesday at his hillside September 18, 2005. He was he had a medicine that dealt with soothing music. I hate that word, but I'll use it here. Soothing music, diet, and meditation. Was found dead at his home, dude. Dead at his home. Dr. Baron Holt, all right, found he was a chiropractor. Died June 1st in Jacksonville in 2000. Where does it say? It doesn't say when he died. 2010? Oh man. I mean, like, dude, I could keep going on.
Yeah, they're all over
Being
the
murdered makes sense. The Nazis had IGF Fabian became Bayer. Japanese had a leader who was indoctrinated part of the pharmaceutical company Green Cross. I don't even know what I'm reading right now. What is that? I mean, I got a list of people here dying, one right after another. Just dead. I mean, I could go for a whole podcast just reading names of people who died. The 90 doctors. I could do a minute on each of them and have an hour and a half podcast on the amount of these guys that are dying. And dude, big pharmaceutical just knocked us off the computer. Because obviously,
we can't have this going on.
Paying that guy over there, something to do with this. Oh yeah, more sound effects. That's the sound.
We're
of
all on board until you
the
start
lizard
talking
people. We're
vaccinations.
all just hooked in. Yeah. So
Can't
your
have
guys'
to talk about
final
this
thoughts on
vaccination.
this stuff?
I think that it all comes down to everyone as an individual person needs to take the responsibility to really start doing their own research and start forming their own opinions. Whether or not people consider you crazy, whether they consider you a conspiracy theorist, You owe it to yourself to actually question the information that's given to you, whether or not you understand it. I know you didn't go to school to become a doctor, a biologist, or a chemist major, but if you consider yourself just a rational person, you should be able to look at some of this information, cross-reference it with people that disagree, and come up with your own opinion. And you can decide, you know what, I did my research, I'm going to take this doctor's advice and this doctor's opinion, or you know what, I just don't see it as the correct opinion for me. But you shouldn't ridicule anyone without at least doing at least minimum 2 hours of research on your own.
Dude,
straight up.
This is just sent to me on 2 hours ago on Twitter. The price of a drug best known for treating a rare infant seizure disorder has increased almost 97,000% from a $40 vial in 2000 to nearly almost $40,000 today.
Wow.
There's nothing that can offset that.
Nothing.
And we don't want bigger government, but we need something that fucking can counter that.
But we're locking up parents giving their kids CBD oil for trying to control their seizures, and yet the big pharma is upraising our price 9,000%. That should be illegal, and there should be laws against that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, how many people can afford that? Like,
look up
realistically,
one thing real quick. Look up Donald Trump, pharmaceutical prices murdered. Drug prices. Put drug prices in there too. Drug prices. Yeah, the guy that was in charge of Donald Trump's drug company get away with murder. Look at that. Look at that. Can you read that?
Drug companies getting away with murder. Trump solution: round up foreign country targets.
No, that's not it.
Not
okay.
it?
So basically, Trump had a guy whose job was to figure out how to lower. He was in Ohio. How to lower the price of pharmaceutical medication. He was found of a suicide with 2 shots in the back of his head.
that's impossible.
How do you kill yourself like that? Oh, I'm about to kill myself.
Boom. Oh, didn't work. Boom. Here's another one.
No.
Oh, I still feel life. What?
And you know, the big thing is you saw Trump, he's flipped on vax. He was very anti-vax when he was running. Perfectly good baby. Comes in a little sick. They give him vax. And now he's like really sick. It's horrible. It's horrible.
You know what's fucked up? As much as people want to
Look right
hate
here.
Trump, a part of me genuinely feels bad. Because I feel like he was a part of this system that us, people call us conspiracy theorists, but like we're aware of, and we can see the
Don't
puzzles
go on
and
Snopes.
dots.
Fuck Snopes.
But imagine Donald Trump literally as like a reality TV star he knows his family has old money. He's in the know to a degree, but then he actually got elected. And he was like, whoa, I did this as like a fucking goof. I'm a drunk frat boy type of mentality. And now that he's in it, he's just like, fuck, like I'm in this now.
I think
I'm the
so
puppet.
much more scripted.
Oh yeah,
scripted,
definitely,
dude.
definitely.
I think this has been set up for a long. Like word is on the street that he was laundering drug cartel money through his casinos because he was broke, and that's how he's making his money. And then he took money from the Rothschilds. And now if we know about the drug cartel, ran by the CIA, I said before, El Chapo's just a district manager. He's not running jack shit. Okay, so they run it through his whole thing. He's given the Clintons all this money forever. And then he's running against them. Now they hate each other. I hate you. I'm going to lock you up. And then, like, who gets locked up? Julian Assange. Then there's the whole thing about Chelsea Manning's father being in Five Eyes.
It's
Like wasn't Donald Trump? Wasn't his grandfather like part of like the CIA like founders or something? Like he was
that was a
up
Klan
there.
member.
Well, his uncle went to Ivy League school and was the guy who actually went through all of Tesla's stuff before the government got there.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I heard.
and
there.
it's all just so
Yeah.
interweb. Like we just named
Yeah,
off
then-
so many conspiracies,
And then they
it makes
won't
sense.
they won't put any of Nikola Tesla's shit out. They like after he died, they're just like, yep, this is ours, and nobody gets to read it now.
Yeah. I just want to find this quick story
yeah,
before
that
we
was
go.
wild.
Guys,
That was
tell them where they can find you again on the internet and all that stuff.
Well, we expanded our platform, so now we're available on Spotify. We're on Anchor, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, and a few other podcast platforms.
YouTube.
But the main thing is, and where we want to hear from you the most, is now on our Discord, and that's The Block is Hot on Discord. We have a few different.
Discord?
It's basically a place where like it's a community-based organization, I guess you could say. Like we have different
It's a lot of
rooms. Like
gamers.
if you have different types of music you want us to listen to, we have a room for you to post links to that. News stories.
How do you get on that?
It's like it's just another app. Like it's like a Facebook,
Yeah.
MySpace, Instagram.
Cool.
It's on your computer. It's on your phone. It's
Because we
probably
want to
even on some TV.
Because we want to hear what a lot of you guys want to like either us to talk about or what you guys think is interesting too. Because a lot of times people will send me DMs on our Instagram. It's like, oh, that's a really good thing. But I would like to hear more people have their opinion on it other than just me and Tim. So I think, Discord. Follow us on Discord and join the room. We can send out links. Follow us on Instagram at The Block is Hot Podcast, Twitter _The Block is Hot Podcast, also with a TH. All that's with a
No,
TH.
THA.
All right, real
THA.
quick before we go, here's the article. You can look it up. Trump's drugs pricing czar found with multiple blunt force injuries ruled suicide. This was last year, November
Impossible.
21st.
Like, what do you throw him down some stairs? That's only blunt force.
Explain, explain like what? Somebody hit themselves over the head with a baseball bat.
That's like I think you just knock yourself out before you'd actually commit suicide. It's like,
yeah.
All these murders.
It's hard to hurt
just-
yourself.
Yeah, it's pharmaceutical. It's the pharmacy. They're
you
just
sprinkle some crack
offing
on 'em too?
people. Like, you really want to make a difference? Stop donating to research. Start donating to bodyguards.
yes.
Start bodyguarding people. All right, we're gonna do one real quick thing because we just got to hear it, and I can't wait to hear what this guy. Where is this? Where's the one with the? Where? Oh, there it is. It's we're gonna do quick, and then we gotta go. Real quick. Let's see what he's got to say.
He's not gonna have his mic ready, by the way.
Get your mic ready, buddy.
It's ready.
I love you with all my heart, buddy. Get your mic ready.
It's ready.
Okay, here we
Some
go.
time with the theme song.
No, stop. We gotta do the theme
Go,
song.
go.
Well, you better be.
Oh, let's start.
Don't be an idiot.
Hey, Ron. Well, you better be sick, dead, or mute. Hey, Ron. You done messed up, hey, Ron.
You filthy animal.
Aaron, thoughts?
Okay. Where to begin? Okay. Autism rates are up because we can detect it better than we ever have in the history of humankind. They come on at year 2 when you're getting certain vaccinations. So it's not a causal relationship. They just
Coinkydink against unicorn law.
no, that's literally what the science is.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. A good diet's better for your health. Great. Okay.
Okay.
Doctors die in the same rate as other humans. You're
How about
literally
blood for-
you
how
can say
about
90
suicide by blood-
you can
blood
say
force trial?
you can say 90 doctors died. If you don't give a time frame, then there's no corresponding data to work with. Like if you say 90 doctors died in 2015 alone, that might be a lot. I don't know what the doctor population is in America or in the world even, but that would be a lot. But if it's over 10 years, what's that, 9 a year? I mean, that's not that much.
Would you agree then if it was based upon like a discovery made? Like if they said, this is my finding, and then let's just say,
Sure.
like 6 months later they're dead.
But
Like, that
not
type of thing?
everybody in that list had that.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Certainly, not everybody on that list. I was reading it as X was going up and down it.
Okay.
I mean, I go to a chiropractor. I like it, but like it's not for everybody.
Yeah, if you got hit by a car like after you left, you wouldn't be like, you're on some. I get that.
X is gonna give it to you. He's gonna give it to you. X is gonna give it to you. All right, guys, real quick. I appreciate you guys coming out. We gotta do it more. We gotta do more shows. Guys, go do stand-up. I need people to do stand-up in these shows. So come and do it. Get up. Call me. I'll help you guys get good fast. XGLC tonight. If you guys are bored, come to Comedy Store.
Most
you guys can come Comedy
We're always
Chaos
bored.
on me. Aaron, you're wrong again. We will see you guys soon. Take care, everybody. And I hope you enjoyed this 2-part special. All right.